Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Mazda Miata restoration on the Rusty Beauties channel. Nick is getting it ready to bring it inside, and I suppose you have seen already in some of my other videos my new acquisition here, this Max Jax lift. So we're gonna use it finally for the Mazda. We're gonna put it on and we're gonna start working on the suspension. On the last episode we worked a little bit on the brake and we took out the sway bar, the rear sway bar, to be cleaned and painted and installed back. But today, since it is Saturday and we're gonna be able to work today and tomorrow on the car, maybe we're gonna continue with at least one side of the rear suspension. We're gonna take it apart completely, clean paint, change bushings, and then assemble it back. We can do at least one because on Sunday the car needs to come out of the garage again, and I should be able to continue working on other cars like this one, for example, which we had to take off the lift and just squeeze over there so we can bring the Mazda inside. How does it feel?
Great.
Just don't fall asleep under.
Yeah. If I lean back, it fits.
I know, the back of the chair even fits under the car. Just watch your head on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna work on the suspension today, and the sway bar that Nick took out now needs to be painted. We have the bushings and we're gonna paint it, install the new bushings, and we're gonna put it back. For the rear suspension, we have all the bushings as well. What we don't have, and I don't know if it's needed, was the CV joint boots. Well, this one is good. This one is good. Okay. Well, looks like we don't need boots, which is good. So we have everything for the back. We have the bushings for the lower control arm. We have the bushings for the upper control arm. The springs with shocks. I think that's it for here. And I'm wondering if it is gonna be easier to work at this height. This is a standing height, or if we lower it over there, we can work while sitting on a chair. Anyway, we're gonna decide. So let's take the wheel off. Nick is gonna start taking apart stuff. I will start cleaning up rust. Okay, so Nick is gonna start taking apart here the caliper first. So to take it out, the front caliper had a bolt here and a bolt up there, just like normal calipers. This one, for whatever reason, only has a bolt at the bottom. The top, I guess the pin is fixed inside the caliper here. So you only need to remove this one, and you're gonna be able to swing the caliper up and then pull it out from there. And then of course we're gonna clean up the pins and everything. In the meantime, I got all new boots for all these pins, so we're gonna replace them. I'm gonna put you on time-lapse mode, and you're gonna keep an eye on him while I'm outside. The sun is up. I can go and just de-rust parts. Okay, so I don't know how much you saw from this, but Nick was able to remove the bottom bolt from here. Then he was able to swing up. Let me put it back up. So he was able to swing up this like that and take out the brake pads, but unfortunately we can't take apart this. So it is swinging left and right. It's pretty tight, but we can't take it apart. I don't know what's holding it. There's no bolt in the back, nothing. It just needs to come apart. because we want to clean it, change this boot, etc., etc. So I made him take out the two bolts that hold the whole caliper to the vertical link there. And I still don't see anything on this part that holds this together. This bracket is held now only by friction on this pin, but it just doesn't come out. So anyways, I'm gonna deal with that at some point myself. For now, I'm just gonna hang the caliper here. And now Nick is gonna start soaking everything, all these bolts on the top, on the with WD-40, on the upper and the lower control arms. And we will see if if we can break them loose. Also here, the bottom of the shock, Nick. Also this bolt, we have to see where is the other end. I don't know, but we're gonna have to spray WD-40 everywhere.
I'm just gonna spray every nut I see.
Yeah. Here, this is so corroded. I don't know how we're gonna take this apart, but we have to remove these nuts so the CV axle can slide out and we can take out the vertical link this way. But before we do that, I'm not really sure how much tension there is on this spring, which is broken, somebody pointed in the last video, or one of the last videos. So yeah, we're gonna change shocks and springs. Everything is getting changed, don't worry. So before we start taking everything apart, after we make sure that everything breaks loose, we're gonna lower the car and we're gonna put the jack under here, and we're gonna let the tension slowly loosen. So that's the plan. Okay, so Nick is still fighting with the hardware here. What I told him is to loosen all the bolts, maybe remove the nuts, but don't remove any hardware yet, any bolts. So everything is loose, all the bolts except that one he's finishing, and this one we need to make sure that this is loose. And then we're gonna go hunt for the top of the shock. I don't know where. It needs to be somewhere in the boot, right? Anyways, in the meantime, I'm helping him every once in a while with advice or some strength. And in the meantime, I'm coming here every once in a while and I'm wire wheeling parts. So these are all the parts for the sway bar. And they are rust converted now. We're gonna wait for a while for the rust converter to do its magic. And then we're gonna paint them. Like, I know that it's probably not gonna last a lot, the paint under the car, because it's gonna be a daily driver. It's gonna be driven even in the winter. So the salt in Canada doesn't forgive anything. But anyway, it's not worth taking everything out and putting it back rusty. I can't just do that. So we're gonna clean them. Look at that. The wrenches are like natural extensions to his arms now. All right, everything there is loose, except this nut. So this is so tight. I think I'm gonna have to take the needle scaler and just buzz it and see, to clean up a little bit and see. We tried to undo it already, but it's not 24. 24 is too small, but 27 is too big. So I don't know. I don't have anything in the middle. I will see if I can use some Imperial, but first maybe I'm gonna buzz it with something. So somehow I took over. He started a new job, which starts 5 o'clock in the morning. So he is tired. Okay, I cleaned it up. It looks like it's a nut. I thought maybe this is just a cover for a nut, but it's not. It's the real nut, but it's so corroded. And we opened the manual and it shows it as a nut here that you need to punch here into a channel inside the axle shaft. So I don't know how it is gonna come out now. I'm gonna try. So apparently 1 inch fits pretty well, because 24 is less than an inch, 27 is more than an inch. An inch is 25.4. So I'm guessing that's right in the middle. And it says you have to replace this nut. Well, we don't have a new one. I'm gonna look if I can buy one. Except we can't take this one out. That's gonna be a trouble. Never seen anything corroded that bad. Like, honestly, I have the feeling this is welded. Well, I'm gonna have to grind a little bit here the hex on the nut so I can put a 24mm socket, and obviously this nut is gonna need to be replaced. Okay, I'm gonna keep grinding it here to make the socket go deeper, and then maybe we're gonna use a little bit of heat before we try to remove it. So ground this a little bit now. It kind of fits 24mm socket. Also try to get rid of this part of the nut that is punched into this groove. So I think it should come out now. I'm gonna resist the urge to use heat yet, because there's bearings behind. There's bearings in the hub, right? We don't wanna boil them. So I'll try without that, and if that doesn't work, then obviously we're gonna have to ruin bearings and nut and everything. So fingers crossed it works. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna have to buy a new nut for here, because we don't want to have the same issue again. Tap it gently. Nope. That's gonna be our next problem, I guess. Now the disc is supposed to come out too, right? But it's not coming. Okay, I think the disc started moving, which is good. Okay, so good. Now the discs, I think we're gonna reuse them. I don't think they're gonna fit on my lathe. And this axle, we'll see if it is gonna come out when we remove the top bolt from here, and we'll try to swing the link out and try to push the axle in. For this reason though, we have to remove the shock first. I'm just not sure now if, well, yeah, there's not much tension in the spring anymore. So I think I can just remove it from here and let it hang on the shock, and then try to tilt the vertical link. Okay, there you go. I don't want to mushroom the end, but just gently. Let's try a jaw puller. Okay, fine. Oh, that's good. this bolt is gonna give us troubles, I guess, judging by how hard the bushings are turning. So I'm guessing the bolt is seized into the metal part of this bushing. Just a guess. Okay, so the upper control arm is out. That was easy. The lower control arm, though, it is pain in the butt. So first of all, this bolt is not coming out because the nut inside here is spinning. And surprisingly, it's a cage nut and it's inside the control arm. How do we even deal with that now? Because it's rusted. I don't know. We're gonna have to deal with that later. So we're gonna just leave the shock on the arm and we're gonna take them out both together and we're gonna deal with that on the bench. This bolt, I wanted to remove this vertical link here now from the control arm. It looks like the bolt is seized inside the metal part of this bushing here, because all this movement here is by the flex of this bushing. So I don't know how we're gonna take this one out. So I said, okay, we're gonna deal with that on the bench. Next, I come here. These I think are seized too into these eccentrics. This is how you align the camber on this car. You see, this is an eccentric, and when you turn it, the whole arm moves left and right. They're both, I think, right now in the lowest position. The eccentrics, almost lowest position here. So that's how we're gonna assemble them when the time comes. But after that, of course, we're gonna have to go to professional alignment and they're gonna align it. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. And now I'm gonna figure out how to take the bolt out, because it's just spinning together with the eccentric, but it needs to come out. But I don't know, I'm gonna keep trying. But eventually, if I'm able to take these two bolts out, everything is gonna hang on the shock. And I'm gonna lower the car and then I'm gonna go inside the trunk and I'm gonna undo their two bolts that hold the shock up, and we're gonna just drop everything down. Okay, I was able actually to take the bolts out. Not too hard, tap them gently. You see they have a flat side here that goes into the eccentric. The eccentric has a D-shaped hole and they ride into this recess here, and that's how you adjust the camber. Yeah, just like that. And now, like I said, everything is hanging on the shock absorber. So I'm gonna go lower the car now and remove the top nuts. So for this side it's a little bit tricky because we have the hoses for the gas tank filler, but these are the bolts here. We need to remove the outer two and it's gonna come out. These two bolts were the hardest ones probably to remove. Very, very inconvenient spot. Okay, we have the assembly out. Now we have to figure out how to take out this bolt and this bolt. Okay, this nut here, I don't see another way to deal with other than welding it. I can't really reach down there. Maybe if I turn it a little bit with the pointy part up here. Well, somehow I didn't film that part, but I was able to weld the nut, and then the bolt came out very easy with the impact gun. But I think I'm showing the welded nut later in the video. I'm sorry about that. Wow, this spring is broken in two different places. Like it's broken here and here. Strap. Let's see this bolt now. It's seized here and inside the Okay, so I burned the bushings here and now I was able to swivel it out of the way, but the thing is, it is seized here and inside here in this bushing in the metal part. So I have to deal with 3 seized parts at the same time. Only here on this side it is spinning inside the bushing. All right, it's the next day and can't come up with anything else other than maybe taking it to the press and just pushing on this bolt on this side. I don't know how well you're gonna see. So there's a piece of tube underneath to allow the bolt to go down, and on top we have a piece of aluminum, so hopefully we won't damage the threads here. But if we damage them, we're gonna have to fix them, but hopefully that's gonna work. Let's see. Oh, it's moving. That's good. So we were able to take the bolt out without damaging the threads. That's good. So now we're just gonna clean it and reuse it. Okay. So finally, everything is apart. Here, unfortunately, I did not buy a seal, but you know what? This is not so hard to change. So I'm gonna order it and we're gonna replace it some other time. We just need to finish today cleaning and painting all that so we can assemble it and take the car off the hoist because I'm gonna need it for work. Now we have everything apart. We're gonna go and take out all the bushings, which is gonna be tricky now for this arm. We're gonna de-rust everything, paint, and hopefully we're gonna be able to put it together fairly easily. Finally. Wow. That gave me some troubles, but we didn't give up. Okay, we have 2, 4, 6 more. All right, so this I was able to take out everything. Some of them were really stubborn and I actually burned them with a torch, but now this I can't really fit on the press because of this. So I can put them like this, but this is pretty dangerous because we might bend them together. We don't want to bend the arm. So I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way, which is with threaded rods and washers and nuts, and I'll show you now. However, Nick is gonna start cleaning up the thing with needle scaler there. He's gonna clean this, and this. He's gonna make noise, so I'm gonna explain in advance what I'm gonna do, and then we can watch. So here, I'm gonna take a drill, and with a drill bit, I'm gonna drill holes around. I did that for this one, for example, you see? I'm gonna drill holes into the rubber to loosen it up a little bit, remove half of the resistance at least, and then with the washers and with the threaded rod, we're gonna push them out. So that's what we're gonna do. Scratched a little bit the arm here, so that's not a good idea. We're not gonna do the drilling on the other one. Okay, and now here I'm gonna do this. I never liked these. I could never think of any use of them for them, but they come in kits. when I buy wire brushes like this, these come in the same kit and I just collect them, and now all of a sudden I have a perfect fit for them. And now we're gonna clean it and paint it, and we're gonna start assembling with the new bushings that look like this. So these are gonna be much easier to install, and their sleeves go after. So anyway, for that later in the video. Okay, all these parts are rust converted now. We're gonna let the rust converter do its magic. Nick started cleaning the hardware a little bit. He also painted here. He painted here this area. Well, he didn't paint here, but that's fine. Here it is nice and clean. So definitely we're not gonna be able to assemble it today, but at least we can start getting it ready. I'm hoping to be able to paint these today so they can dry overnight, and tomorrow, even though it's a work day and Nick is not going to be here, I have no choice. I'm going to have to finish it. So tomorrow, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to bring the spring now. We can install the spring, right? Okay, so here we have one front and one rear shock, and they are adjustable. Of course, you can adjust the dampening, you can adjust the height, right, and all that. But for now we're just gonna leave it as it is. So the bottom of this bottom part threads into this part, and you can adjust the right height. Right now we have about 30 millimeters threads inside here, so we can make it shorter. I don't know how much longer we can make it though, because we don't wanna leave here just half an inch of threads, you know, we want more. I don't know how much, so we're gonna do a research on that. I'm just concerned that now if we install it like that, the car is gonna be way too low. Yeah, maybe this spring is softer than this one, and when the car goes on the ground, this compresses more and comes to this height. We don't know. So anyways, we're gonna leave it as it is. As it is, it was adjusted when it came. Let's just install it. So easy for him now. The new bolt was... Yesterday I was struggling so much with the rusted ones. There's no room there. You can't see now. I asked me how I did it yesterday. Wow, I'm actually surprised how good these discs are, these rotors. Did somebody say that we need new rotors? I don't think so. I also cleaned this surface here because it was pretty well corroded, and that's the mating surface with the hub. So we painted all the parts. They're hanging over there. Nick is still cleaning the last of the hardware. And I think that's gonna be everything for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna start assembling it on my own when Nick is not here. But you will be here, so stay tuned for that. Alright, it's the next day, and today I'm alone in the garage. Nick is not here. He's at school. It's kind of a crappy day. I really hate this weather, but hey, it is what it is. All the parts got painted yesterday, so they're ready to go. We ran out of bed liner, so we just painted them with black paint, but they're not gonna hold a long time anyways. They're gonna get rusty again, but that's normal for all suspension parts. Anyway, everything is ready to be assembled, and here I have the rear suspension bushing kit that we bought. Here we have parts list, and we have all these different sizes bushings with different sleeves and even different washers, but on this schematic everything is shown. So I'm gonna organize them with the sleeves, with the washers and the bushings where they belong. Maybe I'm just gonna put them where they belong there. We have also the sway bar kit. I'm gonna put that there as well, and then we're gonna start assembling them. Okay, so it turns out we have everything that we need. I just wanted to make sure before I start putting bushings on and find out that I'm missing something or I put somewhere something wrong. This way I made sure that everything is wherever it needs to go. And I also made sure that we have leftover bushings and sleeves and washers for the other side, so these now can go back in the box. So I'm just gonna go around and clean the bore one more time because paint went inside. Maybe a wire wheel is gonna work better here. Okay, so the only tricky part here is these two bushings. If you take a look here, the ones on the outside, this one and this one, are 64413, and the ones on the inside are 64410. Here we have four of the same kind, 64411. Here we have four of the same kind. These are 64409, and these are both 64412. So only here we need to be careful. And the difference is in the flange here, it's different thickness. So 64410 are the ones with the thicker flange, they go on the inside, and the ones with the thinner flange go on the outside. I'm just gonna lubricate them, so we have lube here that comes with the bushings. And then the sleeve, again, we're gonna lubricate it outside. And later we're gonna lubricate the bolt before we put it on. Or should we put anti-seize on it? I don't know. And the two washers are also different because the one that goes towards the head of the bolt goes all the way. The other one is hitting the shoulder of the boat here. Okay, and everything else is symmetrical, so I'm not gonna hold you here for that. Okay, all these bushings are installed. Now for these ones, for the link for the sway bar, they have shoulders on both sides, they're not split. So these we need to press in. And these are tricky sometimes, so let's go on the press. Okay, let's try first putting it directly, which I don't expect to work because these tend to bend and just go like that and don't want to go inside. But let's try just in case, it might work. I'm gonna line them up perfectly. I didn't put grease on purpose, so it's not so slippery. Actually, no. You see, that's what happens. So we need to find some tube or something to guide it, to keep it straight. That's centered, kind of. Okay, I'm gonna keep trying like this. Trying to center it perfectly. Looks like it went in this time. Just need to push a little bit more so this shoulder comes out. Wow, okay. That looks like it's gonna work like that. Okay. That works. Now I can push it back a little. Perfect. And now this can go in. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so it's not that hard. I'm gonna do the rest on my own. Okay, so these are installed as well, and these we're gonna install later because I don't know the exact position now. So we're gonna install them just before we mount these brackets. They are split. Nicola was asking me, how is that gonna work? Because they're not split. The original ones were split. Well, the cut is so small and so precise you can't really see it. But yeah, there is a split on them. So we're gonna install them later. So in this case, let's start assembling. Okay, I also organized the hardware to know which bolt is going where before I use the wrong bolt in the wrong place, and then only to find out later that I'm missing a longer bolt and I used it somewhere else. So that's how it goes. The important part here is these eccentrics. Remember, these are to adjust the position of the two pivoting points of the control arm, and it is important to put them in the same orientation because you see it's a D-washer with the flat part of the bolt, but if you put it this way, now one of your eccentrics is going to be up, the other one is going to be down, and look, that's what's going to happen. We don't want that. We want them to be in the same orientation, so this happens. I'm debating whether to put grease on all the bolts or anti-seize. And I'm thinking more about anti-seize because especially here, remember this nut inside was cage nut and it was really hard to take it apart. I had to weld it, but I welded it only on one side, so it's barely holding there. So I made sure now that the threads are clean and it goes in easy, but I think I'm gonna use anti-seize. Okay, so let's start in the same order that we took everything apart, which is the shock was put inside the control arm and the control arm was hanging on it like this. Okay. Okay, we're gonna just loosely put everything and then we're gonna torque everything at the end. So now the deep ones inside. I'm just gonna start them both to make sure that it fits before I make the mess with the anti-seize. Now the D-washer again in the right orientation to match the other side. And here, of course, we need to make sure that the eccentric washer fits in its slot, and I put anti-seize there as well. And we have the same on the other side where the nut is. And now for the vertical link, I'm gonna put anti-seize. I'm gonna put anti-seize here as well. Remember, this was seized badly. I'm gonna put the washer with the bigger opening on the side of the bolt. You can't do it the other way around anyways. So. Wow, that's tight. I'm gonna go make sure that this is correct. The narrow flange on the outside, the wider flange on the inside. I might have done it wrongly. Okay, so it turns out it is correct. I'm not crazy. I put them the right way, but why is it so tight? I don't know. It fits. It just needs to be squished a little bit. Oh, come on. take a rubber mallet. Okay, that pushed the bushings out, but we're gonna push them back in with the nuts. We could have done that on the bench, but it was gonna be too heavy to install as an assembly. This way it's easier. So nice when all the parts are de-rusted. Okay, that's what we want. So let's install the upper control arm first, because we have access now there. If we have the axle here, it's gonna be harder. Alright, here before we put the axle inside the hub again, I'm gonna clean this seal surface where the seal rides, because it's rusty, but we don't wanna damage the seal more than what it is damaged already. I think it is a nice seal, plus there's no oil inside. This is just to prevent water from going in. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I looked around, I wanted to see if I can buy it quickly. I don't have it, but we need to buy also a nut for here as well. So that shouldn't be too hard eventually. If I find seals and buy them and nuts, I can always remove this bolt, tilt this, and change the seal and then use the nut. So I'm gonna assemble it now with the old seal, because I need to drive the car out anyways. So a little bit of WD-40 and 1000 grit sandpaper, just to gently polish this surface. Oh yeah, just dirt. Okay, that looks better. And now we're gonna use some anti-seize on the splines as well. Remember how hard it was to take them out? And these are not sliding, like on the sliding axles for TR6 for example, so you don't need grease. The bearings are sealed bearings, so they don't need greasing. And also I checked the hub, doesn't have any play, so we are good here. Now that's gonna be tricky. Okay, now for these bolts on the lower control arm, the eccentric ones, you see how when you turn the eccentric, the arm goes, now it goes down, now it goes out, it goes all the way out. So they were like that, all the way at the bottom. So that's how I'm gonna put them for now. But we're gonna take the car to a shop to do a proper alignment, of course, when the time comes. For now, I'm just gonna put them back where they were. And this one is the wrong way. See, this one came out. That's how it needs to be. Okay, good. And that's it. It's all assembled now. Just need to put this nut. So I'm gonna go around and torque everything, and I'm gonna put the brakes back together without touching anything for now, because I don't have time. Like I said, it's a working day for me. I shouldn't be working on this car. I'm just assembling it so I can drive it out. And I guess with Nicola, we're gonna go around all the corners. We're gonna rebuild the suspension everywhere, and then we're gonna go around and do the brakes. I got the boots for all of the calipers, so we can just go and unseize them. Like this one is seized, the pin inside here is spinning but it's not coming out, so maybe there's something that I don't know there, so I'm gonna educate myself a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna put it together and that's gonna be everything for today. All right, I decided to actually deal a little bit with the brake here and try to put it together the proper way, but I don't understand what's going on here. I can't separate the mounting bracket from the caliper. Like I clamped it here so it can be like on a bench, and I even hammered on this side and it just doesn't want to come out. I made it spin nicely, absolutely no problem, but it wouldn't go in and out. We have another set of rear calipers that somebody donated, and I came and I took apart this one just to see if I'm doing something wrong or if there's something that I'm missing, and look at that, it just comes out absolutely no problem. So I'm not gonna waste my time anymore with the one on the car. We will decide what we're gonna do. Maybe we can clean and paint these ones because they look in better shape. Even the boots are good. And one day we're gonna just swap them. Of course, we're gonna have to rebleed the brakes, but that's fine. At least we're gonna have painted calipers, but not today. So I'm gonna go back to my original plan, like with the old brake pads and everything, and we're gonna deal with that later. Don't go anywhere though, because we still have to put the sway bar in. All right, let's pre-assemble the sway bar. And now these are all the parts that come with it, only 2 washers, and the diagram doesn't show where they go. It just has a parts list and it says that they need to be 2. So I'm assuming they're coming here between the bushing and the sway bar. Now the thing is, I don't remember if this sway bar was going this way or this way. So we have to fit it actually on the car, and that's gonna show us. Also, it's important here, you see the two eyes are tapered like this. That's how it goes. It's not tapered like this, it's tapered like that. That I remember. So let me just put it on and we're gonna assemble it under the car. I thought I could assemble it outside, but no. It's so nice to be able to work with a lift. Great. Okay. This is more or less where the mount goes. Okay, so we mounted it here with the mounting brackets and it still swings around pretty nice, and I think this is how it goes. If it is like this, then the angle doesn't match, right? So it's clearly on the outside. The problem is now, it's not a problem, but what happens now is because of this shock is much shorter. Now this doesn't match here. I mean, when I align that one, so let's align this one. I'm gonna hold it with one hand. Look where this one is, because the difference of the shocks. But I'm assuming that this spring is softer than this one. I don't know. We will see. We will drop the car down. I'm gonna mount only this side. This one we have to still take apart and change bushings, so I'm just gonna put the bolt there so we don't lose it. And then yeah, we can drop her down and see the stance, see if this is much lower than this or not. Well, as expected, even though the shock was, or the assembly, the coilover, was so much shorter than the other one, when the car stepped on its own tires, now it is pretty much the same. So here we have 2 feet, and here we have 2.25 feet, something like that. So basically the same, which is great because we can lower it much more on the other side. We have room on the treads to make it lower. We didn't have room to make it higher, which we don't want anyways. So that's great. Well, one side is done, one corner actually is done, and we have 3 more to go with Nick. Okay, so it's the next Monday and Nick is here to inspect my work on Monday. So did you like what I did?
Yeah, it looks really good. And it matches the green on the car now.
Yeah, but you see now the 2 sides are same height, even though this shock was shorter, remember? So I measured last time, it's 1/4 inch higher on this side. So when we have the other side changed as well, we can lower it more. Because I was worried, I thought that we might need to extend it, but there were not many threads there.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to extend it more than
Yeah.
that. But turns out we're gonna have to actually lower it, which is great. So anyways, today we're probably gonna start working on the other side, but I don't think we're gonna film it. We already showed you how the rear suspension got rebuilt on the left side. If there's something interesting, we're gonna show you. If not, we're just gonna get crack-a-lacking and do it quickly. So that's gonna be everything for this video, guys. Stay tuned for more. When we get to the front suspension, I guess it's gonna be even more interesting. And yeah, it's exciting that we're doing mechanical work now, not only welding and grinding, which was becoming boring for the last 2 years. So yeah, that's gonna be everything. Thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and supporting us on Patreon and via PayPal, and by giving us parts, and even with your positive feedback on our videos. We just love it. Okay, so we're just rambling. This is a long video, so that's everything. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.